Okay, boss, you're telling me this helicopter can transform into a jet plane? Why? I mean, it already flies. It's like you people with your tire changing. You want to rotate the tires, but they're on there and they're already rotating, so maybe some people just look for work. But how does this stay up if it's flying and changes to the other one? Why don't it fall? There's some explaining to do. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. And to help kick things off for next month's LEGO reviews, I'm taking a look at a different type of LEGO vehicle. This one is the Switchblade from the Mask toy line. Switchblade was released in 1985, and it included a missile and its pilot, Miles Mayhem. Unfortunately, we don't have the missile for this, mostly because a lot of the missile parts aren't done in orange. And once again, just like the battle ram that we showed off not too long ago, this was a kit, this was a set of plans that was available on Rebrickable from the designer Flashback Bricks. And it is done to the same scale. I mean, we got the battle rams still out, so you can kind of see how big the two of them are next to each other. And once again, since this came from the same source, I gotta once again give a shout out to my buddy Gary over on 5 Deadly Bricks. Since he showed off the ideas that were behind this, he showed off and recommended that spot on Rebrickable. And of course, not too long back, Gary also on his channel did review some LEGO built Mask vehicles. I know he was, at the time that I'm filming this, I know he was working on doing Switchblade. I don't know if he's doing this version of it or if he's doing the other one, because I did let him know I built this one. But at any rate, if you're definitely a fan of Mask from the 1980s, I definitely recommend you check out 5 Deadly Bricks here on YouTube. But at any rate, this is the Switchblade in its helicopter mode. Like Larry pointed out, it transforms into a jet, and this is built so it can transform, folks, believe it or not. I definitely gotta give Flashback Bricks some credit, because the engineering to make it do that took some thinking and a lot of trial and error. I've got to give him credit. The only thing that's disappointing is that there isn't much demand for Mask LEGO minifigures. Although my buddy Gary did show off that there is a vendor that is making Mask minifigures. They've done a wave 1 and it had about 6 figures if I remember correctly, including the main characters like Matt Tracker and Bruce Sato, but also the pilot of Switchblade, Miles Mayhem. Well, since I didn't know of it at the time, I built my own Miles Mayhem using LEGO bought parts. Since Mayhem did wear a dark blue suit, although he had a few more decorations on the suit. And certainly a bigger mustache than what this guy has, but he suits my purpose well. Although I did take the consideration on their design for Mayhem's helmet. So I got a dark blue helmet and a gold visor to be his mask. So take the hairpiece off and don the helmet. Or mask. Mask is probably the better term. always wanted Mask toys when I was growing up, but I never got any. I was a big fan of the cartoon. I've rewatched a little bit of it here as an adult. Certainly hasn't aged the best. But of course also, since this Mask was put out by Kenner Toys back in the day, so Mask is now a property of Hasbro, since Hasbro has bought Kenner out. And they did do a few things with it in the intervening time, mostly linking Mask to their franchise of G.I. Joe. Since for a time there was a Matt Tracker action figure available in G.I. Joe scale, and they did link in canon that apparently Matt is a part of G.I. Joe. And the file also read that Miles Mayhem and his organization of Venom are a branch of Cobra. And of course now there's another toy company that is putting out new versions of the classic Mask toys. But they call the Switchblade now the high-tech helicopter. I can't fathom the reasonings as to why, unless they're afraid of calling it Switchblade to little kids. But of course, then again, if anybody's afraid of a Switchblade knife, just remember that bit out of Crocodile Dundee. Carry one that's almost a machete and scare the snot out of anybody carrying a Switchblade. No, that's not a knife. This is a knife. Alright, let's pop this open. I will say I made one slight change to the build here for Switchblade. I went with a trans red windscreen. The parts list on Flashback Bricks says they used a trans orange. But on a previous order for other things, I needed to add another part, and I could get a trans red one, so I went with that. I think the red looks better, but that's just my opinion. That is my opinion. You're all welcome to join in on it, or not agree with it. That's your choice. I don't really bother with me which way you go. But there we go. We can put Miles inside. He fits in there perfectly. And there is barely a little bit of room for the hairpiece, so we'll just drop it in so we don't lose it. Bring down the windscreen to close it all up. Gotta lean him back just a little bit, ensure we got enough room. There we go. And as you can see, we got the rotor blades do rotate and spin. Now we'll get to that fun part that I mentioned earlier. It does transform. We do that by we fold up the rotor blades, rotate them so they're like this, and then fold that piece down. Come back here to the back and we fold up the tail section, sitting it in right between the rotor blades. Pull the wings out from the side and rotate them into position. Just like that. And then down here, the landing skids can then be folded up. And then to complete the transformation, we attach the weapons here onto the stud shooters. Makes it easy to get them off when you change back and forth. Though I kind of keep them on there so I don't lose them. These parts didn't cost all that much. Believe it or not, I definitely spent around the same price, about the same $30 to $50 mark, buying all the parts for Switchblade. So it really wasn't that expensive to get it. But here it is now, in jet mode. And for anybody who may be wondering, yep, it does swoosh pretty good. So So for those of you that have a Lego City and you're a fan of 1980s cartoons, you might consider having a Switchblade flying in the skies above. And coming up with whatever scheme Miles and Venom will be causing. This Flashback Bricks does have several other vehicles for it. He's primarily done 3 for each side. As I know, for Venom, we have obviously the Switchblade. We also have the Jackhammer and the Piranha. And on the Mask team, there is the Thunderhawk, the Condor, and the Rhino. But also he's done the Boulder Hill playset. So that one I'm most interested in. But there is also a second person that has designed Mask Legos on Rebrickable. They also have the same vehicles. They don't have Boulder Hill, but they have a few of the other vehicles as well, especially from the racing set that Mask went into as the toys went on. So definitely interesting to see the engineering that went into these to make them be able to transform. As I know some of you may be asking me, well, what about Transformer Legos? And yeah, there have been some that have been done. There's probably a few on Rebrickable. And a number of years back, there was a book published that allowed you to see how to build some. I did review it here on the channel. It was one of Larry's earliest appearances. So any of you that are fans of Larry that didn't see it first time around, you might try to see if you can find it. And there is a website, Boys with the Most Toys. They sell plans to make Lego Transformers. Primarily G1, but they do have a few Beast Wars guys. And they also have some Robotech. For those of you that may have enjoyed it back in the day as well. I would definitely recommend you sign up on their newsletter. Every quarter they send you a brief newsletter of what they're up to, and it has a free set of instructions. So you never know what you're going to get, and that's always fun. But yeah, definitely, if you're into Lego Mask, check out the link down below. It'll take you to Flashback Bricks' spot on Rebrickable. I definitely recommend you check it out. But at any rate, that's my review of a Lego-built Switchblade. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that if you love the content we feature here on our channel, we would certainly appreciate likes, shares, comments, and subscriptions. Next month, we're getting into July, so it'll be time for Cobra Convergence, back in the day. And we're going to be looking at Python Patrol Lego builds. So please look forward to it. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.